Let's install Debian Linux on VMware Workstation Pro. I'm going to start by opening the web browser, and here we need to go to the Debian website, which is simply debian.org, just like this, debian.org. And from this page, I'm going to click on Download. This big button on the right, Download, and the Debian ISO file will be immediately downloaded. It's quite a big file, so it will take a while to download. I already downloaded it, so I suppose to already have it in my downloads folder. So I'm going to cancel this download. And let's now open the downloads folder to see the ISO file. And here is my downloads folder. And here we can see the Debian 13 ISO file. Next, I'm going to open VMware Workstation. And from here, we're going to create a new virtual machine. Here I'm going to choose typical. Then we need to choose the installer disk image file, ISO. So here I'm clicking on Browse. And now I need to navigate to my Downloads folder because this is where I have my ISO file for Debian. So let's go to the Downloads folder. And from here I'm going to choose Debian 13. So open. Then we can click on Next. We need to give a name to the new virtual machine. Debian 13 works fine for me. And we also need to choose a location for the new virtual machine. So I'm going to click here on Browse. And I want it to be created on the C drive. So let me navigate to C. So under this PC, we can see the C drive. Here I'm going to create a new folder to which I'll call Virtual Machines. And inside my Virtual Machines folder, I'm going to create a new folder. And this one is going to be for Debian. So let's choose the Debian folder by clicking on O. This way, the new virtual machine will be created on the C drive in the Virtual Machines folder in the Debian subfolder. Let's click on Next. Next, we need to determine how much disk space we want to allocate to the new virtual disk. The default is 20 gigabytes, and for a lab environment for Debian, this should be more than enough. This is what I'm going to go with. And here at the bottom, we can choose if we want to store the virtual disk as a single file or to split it into multiple files. I'm going to go with the default, which is splitting into multiple files. So let's click on Next. And here we can see a summary of the options we made for the new virtual machines that we are about to create. We can click on Customize Hardware, and from here, for example, we can change the amount of memory. I'm going to increase it from 2 gigabytes to about 4 gigabytes, as it will improve the performance of these new virtual machines. As for processors, I am going to go with the default, which is 2 processors, so let's click on Close. Make sure that this checkbox is checked. Power on this virtual machine after creation, then let's click on Finish. And now the virtual machine is starting, and we can see it here. And now we can actually start the installation of Debian. So from this menu, I'm going to choose Install. You can also go with Graphical Install. For this demonstration, I'll just go with Install. We need to choose a language. I'll go with English. And for country, I'll just go with United States. Then we need to choose the keyboard. I'll go with American English. We then need to provide a host name. I'll just go with Debian, so continue. As for the domain name, I'm going to leave it blank, so continue. We can provide the root password, but I'm going to leave it blank, which will disable the root account and will add root privileges to my main user account. So this is what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to provide a root password. So let's continue and continue again. And this way, the root account was disabled. We now need to provide a name for the user account. I'll just go with my name and continue. Then a username and the password for the new user. So let's continue here. And let's confirm the password. We need to select a time zone. I'll just go with the default. And as for the partitioning method, I'm just going to go with guided, use entire disk. And it only sees the one virtual disk that is attached to this virtual machine. This is what I'm going to choose. And to keep things simple, I'm going to choose all files in one partition. You can create a separate home partition by choosing the second option, but I want to keep this as simple as possible, so I'm going to choose all files in one partition. And we can see a summary of the partitions that will be created. This is fine. Let's finish partitioning and write changes to disk. And we need to confirm again. So yes. And Debian is now being installed on the new virtual machine. We can scan for additional media. I don't have any of that. So I'm just going to go with the default, which is no. So let's hit enter. Then we need to choose the location for the Debian archive. Generally speaking, the closer it is to your location, things will run faster. So find the location that's close to your location, then hit enter. As for the Debian archive mirror, I'm going to go with the default, so the first one. If you are using a proxy, you can provide it here. I'm not using one, so continue. We can choose whether or not we want to participate in the Debian developers package usage survey. So either choose yes or no. I'm just going to go with yes. And from here we can install some additional software. You can add or remove options by using the spacebar. So if, for example, you don't want a desktop environment, you can unselect this option and also make sure that all of the desktop environments are unchecked. In a similar fashion, if you want to install an SSH server, choose this option. For this demonstration, I am going to install a desktop environment. So let's check this option, and I'll go with Mate. Of course, you can choose any of the other desktop environments. All of them work really great. So let's click on Continue. And the additional software is now being installed, including the desktop environment. Okay, and it's done. And now we need to install grub bootloader. So let's choose yes. And we only have one available device, which is dev SDA. So this is what I'm going to choose. And it's now installing grub, which is needed for the operating system to load when the virtual machine starts. And it's letting us know that the installation is complete. Let's click on Continue to reboot the virtual machine. And now here from the bottom, I'm going to choose I finished installing. And I now need to provide my username and password. And let's log in. And our Debian system is ready for use. We can click here to enter full screen mode. And the virtual machine is now using the entire screen.